Hello and welcome back to another video of microstakes amateur recreational player hand history reviews. This time I'm going to be going through a tournament which was the $8.80 Bounty Hunters Deep Stack on GG Poker. I'm going to go through 3 hands of this tournament that I thought were interesting. I took like 30th place or 33rd place or something on this in this tournament. I thought I played okay, thought I played well. There's a few interesting spots which I'm going to review now. Going to take the usual route, pokercoaching.com and GG Poker Pokercraft to review these hands. I'm just going to be using my feel and the GTO charts and just talking through them. Like I said before, main reason I do these videos is for my benefit more than anything, and hopefully I can help a few recreational and microstakes players as well along the line, especially if you play in the games I play in on GG Poker. But yeah, before we get started, just want to say thanks for those that have watched my videos so far. If you're enjoying them, then please do like, subscribe, comment, and get in touch, because I like to discuss hands with other players, and it helps me learn and get other people's different perspectives on the game. Cool, so I'll start with the first hand. Okay, so here we are. If anyone's new here, this is the GTO pre-flop charts for tournaments that are available on pokercoaching.com. You get these included with the premium package on pokercoaching.com, which I am a member of. So you can plug in your information here on the hand that you're reviewing, and it gives you a good idea and a good starting point of what you should have done pre-flop, and then we can go through and then narrow down ranges as we learn more about the hand. And then I will be using Pokercraft, a built-in heads-up display and hand tracker that's on GG Poker, because GG doesn't allow any external heads-up displays, as you have to use their built-in one, which I think is fine. It's not as detailed, but if you want to play there, then you've got to abide by the rules. So there we have it. Okay. So we start off with this first hand. I am in the cutoff, and we get that King 8 suited. Speed these up. Fold, fold, fold. Okay, and we get a raise off Mr. Friday, our German friend. Okay, so Mr. Friday has like 60 odd big blinds, and we have about 50 big blinds, so maybe a shade under. Let's see what we decide to do. We go ahead and put a 3-bet in. So it looks like we roughly 3x this, which is interesting. Let's go and have a little look first at Mr. Friday's range. His opening range off, we said 60-ish big blinds, didn't we? So we're putting 60 big blinds here. The position that he is in the hijack, and he is raised first in. So it looks like his range here is as expected, to be honest with you. Has a lot of the ace suited stuff, has like queen jack, queens, aces, all that stuff. I don't know if he's opening 10-7 suited here, 9-7 suited. 8-9 suited, yes, I guess he would be. So I think this is relatively accurate, even though this is a GTO chart. I think this is probably relatively accurate what he's opening. A lot of people open this stuff too much, the sort of ace rag type stuff I find in these games. So this stuff could be in there as well. King 9 off could also be in there. So yeah, I think so. I think that's probably around about right, but maybe a little bit wider than that. So then, out of interest then, we were 40 big blinds, and we are in the cutoff, and we are facing a raise from the hijack. Let's see what we should do here. So we're in the 40 big blinds in the cutoff versus a raise from the hijack. So it's got here that what did we do? So we 3-betted King 8 suited. So is that a GTO 3-bet? It actually is sometimes, look. So we actually got that. Okay, it's not awful. I didn't make a horrendous decision. And I'll just talk into the reasons why I 3-betted this hand. So I find people overfold to 3-bets in these games. So if I feel like I'm going to be in position, so yes, I was in the cutoff. I feel like if I 3-bet here, people fold to 3-bets quite a lot. in these games, so I'm going to get folds pre, but also I feel like I'm going to kind of hijack the position. So I feel like the button's probably going to fold, and in this particular spot, and I'm going to get position. So obviously all your normal candidates for a 3-bet. Ace Jack suited calls, which is interesting, and a lot of stuff folds. So range is relatively tight, but I'm quite happy that we snuck in here, so that's quite cool. But let's continue on and see what happens. Okay, so he calls. I would say for him to call out the big blind there, I think he's going to have a fairly decent, strong range here. I'd think he's got a lot of Ace X, a lot of strong King X, although we block that, a lot of strong Queen X. Small pairs potentially would want a flat that don't want a 4-bet. But I think he caps his range ever so slightly here. So he might want to put in a 4-bet here with aces, kings, ace, king. So I think we can probably take that out of his range, I think. And we also get a call from our German friend, Mr. Friday. So this is a 3-way, 3-bet pot. So we've got quite a big pot now. We have a 2-to-1 SBR. So things are going to get quite tight here. Let's see what happens. We get a check from the big blind. And Mr. Friday leads into us for what, roughly half pot, just a shade over half pot. No, sorry, tell a lie, just a shade under half pot. So he leads for a shade under half pot, which actually gives us incredible pots. This is actually a really good flop for us. Do I think we're going 3 ways in a 3-bet pot with these guys calling down? One of them I feel has got an ace, and I think Mr. Friday here is saying, I've got an ace here, whether it's a weak ace, maybe a 2-pair, ace 7, maybe he's got a strong ace, ace jack, ace king, although we do have the king that blocks that ever so slightly. So yeah, I think he's leading here to say he's very strong. However, we absolutely smashed his flop. We get a pair, 2 spades, so we've got the nut flush draw. So really, we've got 9 spades left out there, 3 more kings out there, so that's 12 outs plus another 8, so it gives us like 14 outs. So I think we're actually potentially a favorite here, against an ace, potentially. May have those maths wrong, but I think I'm a favorite here against an ace. And I'm getting incredible pot odds here. I'm getting just a shade under 3-to-1 here, so I think I can definitely call profitably here. And I imagine, I don't know if I go for the raise. I mean, that's a good point. Is the raise here an option? I think probably yes. However, with the big blind still here, do we necessarily want to blow this pot? Because if Mr. Friday's got an ace, and the big blind's got an ace, then I think we're definitely going to get calls, and I don't think we're going to achieve what we need to, especially with the pot size. I mean, I could have that completely wrong, but let's take a look. So big blind, we go for the call. The big blind folds, so we now go heads up. So that tells me that I think the big blind hasn't got any of that weak ace X we were talking about. Maybe small pocket pairs that just want to get away from this that didn't flop a set. So maybe like 2s, 3s, 4s, 5s. Anything that's away from a spade, he might not want to call down if the turn becomes a spade. It's not many good cards that can come for him here. But yeah, so Mr. Friday then goes ahead and leads again. He goes small, so he goes 15k into 47. Again, giving us great odds here to call off, because we still have got those same outs. I think now he's definitely got an ace, maybe some sets, and maybe some big pocket pairs. So potentially kings, queens, or something that would carry on to put the aggression on and also rep that ace at the same time. Interesting to see what we go ahead and do. Looks like we think about it for a bit. Okay, so that's an interesting card, because any straights get there now, because we're now 4 to a straight. So any 6x, which I don't think he's got any of, but his jack X obviously all gets there. So pocket jacks, he could have in his range here for sure. But I do still think he has that ace. Maybe he decides to now shut down slightly because of that 4 to the straight. We whiff completely, obviously. Just a pair of 8s. So we do have some showdown value, but I don't think a pair of 8s wins here. And he's also bet very small. Again, super, super small. Just seems really milky. Going for value, I think. So let's see if what we do. I can only imagine we found the fold here. With the 4 to the straight, the ace out there, and a 3-bet pot. Yeah, we do find the fold. Now, going back, I think interesting. The only thing I think we probably could have played differently is I wonder if he does have something like jacks, or he does have queens, or a decent pocket pair, or maybe kings. Maybe we could have found the raise here. Maybe we could have gone all in here or something, or maybe we could have just clicked it up and just see what happens, because maybe that gets him to fold out some of his range here. But when we call, I think maybe we highlight we're on a draw or another weaker ace, so he then can continue betting. But if anyone wants to let me know, see what we think, and whether I played that poorly or not. Next one, we get dealt sixes in the small blind. So we have a raise from a big stack here. He's got 70 big blinds here, so we've got a raise off 70 from the cutoff. We've got a call from our good friend Mr. Friday again from the previous hand. So let's have a little look and see what Flocky's range is here. So I'm going to put in 80 big blinds just because that'll make it a little bit wider. Typically, I'd imagine people probably paying a little bit too wide when they're deep. Is in the cutoff and raise first in. Let's take a little look at his range here. So his range, as you can see, is quite wide. He's got all the ace-6 suited, all the pocket pairs, all the sort of suited gappers, suited connectors, any kind of like suited broadways, all that type of stuff is in there. So his range is relatively wide, as you can see. He's raising 37% of hands here. His VPIP here is about that at the moment, so looks like he's about on the money. But let's carry on and take a little look and see what we go ahead and do. You get that flat out of the button, who is also deep stacked as well. So let's see what his range might be here. So let's say we are in the button. He's facing a raise. So let's see what he should be flatting on the button here. As we can see, he's folding a lot here and calling a lot as well. So potentially, according to GTO, we could potentially cap his range here. So no aces, no kings, no ace king, no ace queen suited. Although I find people flat ace queen suited a lot at these stakes. So I don't think people are finding 3-bets enough with that. All of his ace-x suited, all of his king jack, all of his pairs look like they all call. And he folds out a lot of the obvious stuff, I would say, here. So but I don't think, as I mentioned before, the ace-7 off, ace-6 off, ace-5 off, I bet you, or I would put a lot of money on the fact that a lot of people are flatting those hands out of the button at this stake. So I'm going to put that in his range as well. Okay, and continuing on, we're in the small blind. So let's take a little look and see what we would do. We have 18 big blinds. So let's take a little look what we would do with 18 big blinds facing these raises here. So let's put in 20. Our position is in the small blind. We're facing a raise. And we'll put our own opponent's position. We can't put this call in here on the charts, unfortunately. But we'll put the cutoffs raise in there. So it looks like here that sixes is a complete jam. So we should be shoving here. And we never have it as a call. And it looks like none of these pairs are here as a call. So it looks like that's a mistake from me there. It looks like we should just be shipping this most of the time. Interesting that aces call all this jams. There's a lot of jams. The only things that really seem to call is this sort of suited connector here, suited gapper here, king 10 off, and it's just his range is very heavy on the jamming here. But we go ahead and call, which I think is a mistake, but we have to deal with these actions at the spot we put ourselves in. Okay, so flop comes 6, 10, 7, and we absolutely lockbox our way to bottom set, which is nice. It's very connected board, Looking back at their ranges that they opened with, they had a lot of those suited gappers, and things like that. So it looks like they do have, they do connect with this board from the button and from the cutoff raise as well. So let's see what we're going to do. I imagine I check back to the initial raiser, which I do. We do then see a C-bet, a small one, a third pot C-bet here from Flocky in the cutoff, and a call from the button here. Now, thinking about this now, I don't know whether I like a call or not. Calling obviously keeps it three ways, which isn't nice, especially with the connectivity of the board with any straights out there. So any sort of 8, 9 suited and things like that people might have opened here might have just flopped a straight for sure. So I do opt for the call. And again, the card is now a 5 on the turn. Bringing any draw into it, and also now we have a more connected board with the 5, 6, 7, 3 to the straight, which is not very nice. I then check back. We get another barrel, another small one from Flocky here as well, giving us insane odds into 3 ways. I go ahead and jam. Okay, so I'm obviously, I think, in-game trying to get value for sure. I get value from anything that he opened in his range that was like those bigger pocket pairs that haven't got a set here. Any queens, any kings, any jacks, any kind of like big ace with a pair, maybe like ace 10 or something, top pair from the 10 here. But equally, this feels quite polarized for me because I feel like am I going to get called from worse here? Is Flocky going to call? A bounty's in play. He covers me, so he may get called off by a 10 here. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe someone could look at this one for me and let me know whether this is a good jam on the turn here. But I fold out. What do I fold out here? I fold out any smaller pairs, any 5, any 7. I think it's an okay jam because I don't fold out much, and I get called by a lot worse. However, I do get called by any straights that got there. I'm only really beaten by any straights that got there. So I think actually, thinking about it, it's probably a good jam. What does Flocky go ahead and do? Flocky goes ahead and folds. I rabbit hunt the 8, which would have brought 1 to the 4 to the straight, and potentially an issue for me. So all in all, I think I'm quite happy with the jam. I think it's pretty good. So yeah, let me know if you think that was a poor jam, but I think it was played okay. Moving on to the next hand here. Looks like we have 20 big blinds here. Looks like this is a little bit later in the tournament. We have Queen 8 suited. Let's speed this up. What do we decide to do? We need to go ahead and raise it up off 20 with Queen 8 suited. We are in the hijack, I believe. So we have 20 big blinds. Let's take a little look at our range here, see if this was a good decision to start with. Hijack, and we're investing. Let's have a little look. And Queen 8 suited off 20 big blinds is a raise. We just got snuck in there. So I feel like we made a pretty good decision there as well. I'm quite happy with. I feel like I've kind of got my pre-flop raising range down now. I don't have to think about it too much. Obviously, I'm making some mistakes, as we've seen in previous videos, in a lot of areas, and also I don't always get it right. But I feel like on the whole, in-game, I've kind of dialed into the pre-flop raising ranges that I should have here. But anyway, so it looks like we're making the right decision here. Fold, and looks like we have a call from the small blind. And let's go and see what the big blind does. And the big blind folds. So it's got 1.1, shade over 1.1 million in the small blind. Okay, so there's 31 big blind. So let's have a little look at the small blinds defending or calling range here, I should say. Let's take a little look at the small blind's range here. He is in the small blind, facing a raise from the hijack, which is where I am. And let's have a little look at what he's calling here. So he's calling all his ace X suited. I think, like I mentioned before, I think he's calling his ace X off. And he's also calling a lot of his king X suited. He got it down as a 3-bet, so potentially we can cap his range here. People don't 3-bet enough at this stake though, so you can't completely cap their range here. People will like to flat with ace queen, ace jack, sometimes ace queen off, sometimes ace king off. Imagine he's probably raising up with his queens, his jacks, his kings, and his aces. And I don't think he finds jams with his tens. Maybe he does sometimes. I don't know. I would say not necessarily. So I think his range isn't completely capped here, but he has capped it ever so slightly. So I don't put him on aces and kings or anything else. So the flop comes 10 deuce 7. Let's take a little look at his range. So he obviously does have some 10x, some deuce x with 7x, has some of it in there, but not, this board isn't overly connected for either of us, really. I think it maybe favors me more than anyone with the 10x, because I think I've got more king 10, more jack 10 that are open here. We do go check, check. I imagine because I was thinking it didn't hit my range, so I'm going to check back. He's checked back to see the extra card. He's then checked again. Now, what should I do here? Him going check, check makes me think that he is completely whiffed and not connected with this board. Usually I find if I check back the turn, sorry, when he checks back the turn then after me checking the flop, usually if they have connected at these stakes, people try and take a stab at this to try and get some value if they have connected. So I don't think he has anything here. Hasn't connected with this board at all. Maybe he just has what completely whiffs here, like king 9, any kind of other queen X, any kind of ace X stuff that misses, or any ace like 4, ace 8, any of that kind of stuff that completely whiffs here, or any small pocket pairs that don't make a set that he's not overly thrilled about with the overcards on the board. I opt to go large for about half pot on the turn here. Probably just trying to take this down, as I have completely whiffed as well, have no showdown value, maybe trying to rep any of that 10x, maybe trying to rep a 5, maybe some ace 5 that was in my range, any pocket 5s or anything that might have been there. But then he comes back over the top of me. So this maybe makes me think that he's tried to disguise his hand completely, or he just thinks that my stab at this, maybe the way I've been playing, he's been watching me or whatever, I usually do c-bet, flop, and then continue on the turn to try and get fold. I don't often check back too much on these boards, so maybe he sees me as a bit of a weakness there with the stab and comes back over the top of me. So I'm not sure about this hand. Very confused. I don't know whether I messed this up here. Maybe I should be c-betting flop here, and then barreling again, trying to rep the 10x or any pocket pairs that I may have in this spot. But I really don't know. Tough spot. If there's anyone out there that might be able to help me on this one, whether I played it poorly or not. But I think I can definitely get away with it after he comes over the top of me, because I don't think people will do that with too much with the bluff. So I'll just put him on maybe some 10x that he decided to just check back and wait for me to have a stab at, and check raise me. But I don't find people check raise too much bluffing, so I don't think people check raise too much with a bluff. But yeah, that's that hand. I get away from it, and he takes it down. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And if anyone wants to comment and let me know how you think I played some of these hands poorly, or whether I played them well or not, or whether I should have played any differently, or anyone wants to review some of them, just let me know. But yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.